All right, welcome to Pass the Mic. It is Friday, December 5th, 2025, episode 188. Joining me, Mike Gervasi. How are you?
We're counting down to 200, baby. Let's go.
We're getting there. I got an email from somebody saying we're at 188, blah, blah, blah. We've got to talk about Spotify Wrapped later. I posted the picture. I forgot about that. That's something we didn't
Yep.
even talk about before this. Feedback and errors. The Ren Dog was very early to apologize for his Steelers-Bills pick. Not only did the Steelers lose, they were humiliated, and this is total turmoil in Pittsburgh as we speak. But so he did want to apologize. He knew right away. He says, "You're going to get on his case, are you? Are you going to give him the business
No,
at all?"
Red Dog, that's not me. I mean, you got it wrong and very wrong, way off.
Uh,
I mean, I like text us that and blast us, but no, I'm not going to get on your case, Ren Dog. It's all
yeah,
good.
let's just face it. Our NFL picks, we're not doing very well here at all, any
No,
of us. So,
nope.
um, Coach Tony he said he was a few episodes behind, and while he woke his wife. I think it was the suggestion of your idea of doing the relationship advice episode. And it may not have helped Tony's really. I know one thing: when I'm asleep in a car, do not wake me up.
Oh, come on, man. Tony, you got to know better than that.
So there, give him some advice. Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's advice number one. Don't do that.
So he came up with that, and then let's see what else we got. Breaking news: as we were about to go record, Joe Burguy sent us her feedback. She said the new iPad, new iPhone, happy wife, happy life, and that's true. Underrated. She gave underrated. We talked about Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
They're big fans of the Thanksgiving Day parade downtown. They go all the time. And the Detroit parade, I think, is an underrated parade. We sort of it's because it's here. We sort of like take it. I think we take it for granted, but I think it's a
Right.
pretty good parade for a town our size. You know what I mean? And she said overrated. Are you ready to break the news on this? Overrated. Your hubby's sitting in the second row and makes national television after a controversial referee call with his daughter sitting next to him with like, "What the hell, Dad?" Bill Burguy, our own Bill Burguy, was a little Thanksgiving Day famous.
She told me, and I kind of skimmed the text she just sent, but she told me that she had just switched seats with her daughter. So she
Could
could
have
have
been
been on
her.
national TV. Now, here's the thing. I just want to point this out too. Everybody on Facebook's, oh yeah, the refs blew that call. And they did. They got the call wrong. However, later in the game, there was a clear pass interference call that the Lions got away with. Bill,
Most
where were you
things
on that one, man?
most things balance out. It's very rare that one team gets every break. Referees are human. We're not all AI yet. There's going to be mistakes. And you know my line, overcome. It's very rare that one call costs you a game. And that's where I am in life, and I'm accepting that. Like
Yeah.
that's there. She also wants to give a shout out, of course, to our Ohio State Buckeyes. We got that right? Didn't we all take, other than the Ren
We,
Dog?
we all took Ohio State, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we've got that one correct. So we've been good with college. I think we also, did you take Maryland?
No, I took.
I,
I think I want to say I took Michigan State. I
yeah, I
don't
think we
know.
both took Michigan State. I thought.
No, I think you know what? I think we took Maryland. I don't even remember now.
I think I took
It's
State. I thought, well, whatever. There's a new coach now, new coach in town.
no,
So,
Maryland hadn't won a game, so I think we took. I think you're right. I think we both took State.
all right. What else do you got feedback wise?
Max strongly disagrees with my David Montgomery take, being a top 15 back in the NFL, and maybe I overstated that a bit, but I mean, you look at his rushing average, it really hasn't deviated very much. I think it's the second highest of his career right now, but that can be misleading too. He's not carrying the ball as much if you get one or two big carries. But he says he doesn't have the juice anymore, especially behind this putrid line. Um, so I tend to agree. I also think Jahmyr Gibbs has gotten so much better, even with the putrid line. Gary Bailey, great show with the coach. He seems quite insightful and dedicated. The whole school system should feel grateful. So there is that. I got a text during the Michigan-Ohio State game. I want to say it was from Deontay saying maybe Jason Gendron should call Michigan's offense.
Oh,
So I think it was him. I could be wrong. I usually take a picture of these. I'm going to save a couple more. We had a nice little, very scholarly article sent by Nick Gagne, and I'm going to use that and juxtapose that with a Chris Pate text, but that'll be for my hot mic.
okay. Also, we had a text from Aaron Torres, our great
Oh
graphic
yeah.
designer. and this is Max is the lucky guy according to this. They on Dave and Chuck the Freak, they were talking about hammocks,
Yeah.
and somebody called in saying they know a friend or knew somebody that got paralyzed falling out of a hammock.
Well, you seem to be like, I'm a little
I'm
concerned about the way you're reacting
no,
to this
I
story.
just it proves the point of how dangerous they are, and then Max is lucky, I guess. How high up was this hammock?
What is this? Too soon. It's too soon.
Oh, I don't know who this person is. I
Hey,
apologize,
Dave,
profusely.
Dave and Chuck the Freak, though. I mean, they're not competitors. They're not podcasters. It's good to
Yeah, they're
have
fine.
88. It's good to have 88.7 back. I got to
Yes,
say
yeah,
that there.
definitely. All right,
So
you ready for my mic of the week?
let's go. What do you got?
I have, now we might get a curveball for this, but I'm going with 80s film star Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh,
What do you think?
pass,
57,
pass,
57 years
pass the
old.
Anthony. Wow, is he
See,
really?
Anthony. The reason I picked him, I sort of looked it up, and he does for charity, he does a literacy club for young teens, trying to encourage literacy. Excuse my dog in the background. Um, uh, Famous star of great movies, Pretty in Pink, Weird Science. What's your favorite Anthony Michael Hall movie?
Was he okay? So there was a movie where he was a quarterback, being recruited. Was that Johnny Be Good? I
Are
want to
you
say it
sure
was
you?
Johnny
Oh,
Be
was
Good.
he? Oh, yeah. What about Breakfast Club? He was the dork.
I love The
He was
Breakfast
mainly the
Club.
dork.
He was Johnny. I'm going to look that up as we speak. Johnny Be Good movie. I think that was him as the quarterback. 1988 film. That's him. He was the quarterback. I'm right. So that I remember that one.
I'm a big fan of Weird Science.
I
It's
love
a
that movie
great
too.
it's a great movie, a little ahead of its time of what
Do you
was
remember the
great as a
brother? What the brother's name was?
was it Chet?
Chet. How about a
Pretty
nice
God.
greasy pork
Yeah,
sandwich? Sort
God,
of.
man, what are the dumb things that finds my place in my brain? I
Yeah.
You could have introduced me to somebody at a party last week. I already forgot their name, but I remember Chet from Weird
Chet
Science.
from Weird Science. That guy was great.
I remember them. I can still too remember they're in the mall. Remember they dumped the cherry slushies on their heads, and they have the bras on their heads. I
I
remember
wonder.
growing up when my dad would make fun of me and my friends for being dorks, and like even my mom, like that was the movie that was hot, and they're like, "You guys are probably dorks, probably like, doing something like that, and like putting bras on your heads." I don't know why I remember that now too.
Well, speaking of which, so what I remember about that movie, and my dad was not happy. My dad every once in a while would be, most of the time he didn't care what I was into, and normally I was too scared to do anything wrong because I was kind of afraid of him. But um, there's a scene in that where Chet comes in the room, he's got a towel, and those guys, it might have been when they were, or maybe they were in their underwear. He said, "For Christ's sake, would you cover yourself?" He takes the towel off, and you see his bare butt. My dad was not having that, man.
Oh, a
He was
little
like, that
yeah,
was
because they're the
PG-13,
dude's butt.
the dude's butt. He still wasn't.
Butts are butts.
I had to leave the room, and that movie was not. It was. I was a lot of fun. Butts are butts. We haven't heard that line. That's the first time that line's been on the show. Butts are
Yeah,
butts. That's the.
butts are
That's.
butts. All right, so education topic this week. We're going to go breaking news, modern news. In a dramatic shift, Americans no longer see 4 years college degrees worth the cost. I'm at the NBC story right now. It was an NBC News poll. Just 33% agree a 4 year degree is worth the cost. Now, this is important because the wording of the poll is important. Okay. 33%. And this is why sometimes when we talk, you and I both have this feeling of like going on to school is important and learning something. I actually am leaning towards the way the poll is worded. I can somewhat agree with because of the cost. So I just want to know your thoughts on it, and then I'll give you mine. Your thoughts on um, this poll, what it means going forward. I have two kids, one that's about to finish college, one that's just starting. You have a daughter that's about to start her post high school education. What are your thoughts on this poll coming out of NBC News? I mean, this is a big number. 33%, only 33% agree.
So I think, and again, we've talked about it, but I keep coming to the one size fits all approach is so outdated, and what we heard growing up is different than what they're saying now, right? And that's we agree on that, and it's understandable. But the problem becomes, I think that is now it's proof positive the pendulum has shifted too far the other way, right? And
Yes.
the lessons that you could still draw from school are so profound and so important in so many ways. I come back to so many stories of my own, of people I know. A really good friend of mine, Kevin. We grew up in two totally different worlds, even though we were 20 miles away from each other. He grew up, inner city of Detroit, and literally until the most important lesson he learned in college early on was it stemmed from the fact that he had never had a positive interaction with a white person until he went to college. Right? How important is that? You can't put a price tag on that. And so I think that those lessons are still there. Now, again, the cost of college, certainly the cost prohibitive nature of college makes that lesson very costly. So again, what I'm trying to do, and they're implementing this more and more in high school. I've talked about the personal finance class I've had. And so the lesson I tell the kids all the time is a direction in college could make your degree more than worth it. But if you're going aimless for too long, and again, you can get by for a year, maybe two, just getting by, so to speak, getting your prerequisites out of the way, but you have to have some sort of plan. Otherwise, it does become, again, I don't want to use the word crippling, but it can become very, very, very damaging financially for a long, long time if you don't have a plan. But again, this 33% number, you and I talked about it at lunch the other day, um, and the direction of the economy. You said something recently. We're just kind of looking around, and we know what AI is doing. Where are some of these kids going to go, right? And so I'll kind of leave it to you on that, because and I'll let you kind of jump off that. But I do worry, and I think that's a staggering number. So yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think that the survey would the survey is not saying is a college is it not, it's saying for the cost, is it worth it? That's what the college. And when you look at the costs,
Sure.
for most people, it's not, because what happened is the universities have become so expensive, as long with everything else. But I mean, outrageously expensive, that we're
Hmm.
taking on debts that used to be the debts for people going to medical or law school. And I know
Right.
there's this big controversy about now what's a profession and what are the cap. There's capping loans because so many people have crippling student loan debt for some that will never make enough to pay it back. And that's why, like, I never, the student loan forgiveness, I never got that upset or angry about it, because in my mind there's so many other things that are forgiven, or money that is spent and expenses that are spent that we don't even take into account, money that's, it's just on paper, as my dad used to say, that's just shipped all over the places. um, but that doesn't mean I don't think college is important. So it's sort of like it's all in the wording, you know. So based on current costs and based on family situations and based on what degree and based on what's going to happen with AI, I understand why this number is like this. I'm not shocked by it, but at the same point, I understand the value, and like you mentioned, the value. And I still think, it's funny. Elon Musk got what, that $1 trillion pay package over multiple years or whatever, and then he goes on and like a couple weeks later says, "Oh, with AI, work's going to be just like a hobby, and money won't matter." Well, if money didn't matter, why do you want the $1 trillion pay package? Like,
That's
wait a minute.
very easy for you to say, Elon.
Yeah, easy for you to say. Like, I don't even understand.
Right,
And I
right.
and I still can't fathom what this world's going to look like. Oh, work's going to be a hobby. And again, I'm looking forward to retirement, but I actually don't mind work. Like, I don't mind like going to,
Hmm.
I even work like the golf course. You know what I mean? Like, it's so like one day all of a sudden they just be like, okay, well, never mind. Whatever your pay was, we're sending you this, and you can either go do something or not. Like, I don't know what world is coming. Like,
Right. How would society function? I don't know.
I don't know. Sean Hannity would lose his mind. I mean, who would he call lazy? I don't even know. I don't even, would he be
Who's a
angry at?
freeloader now? Everybody's a
Yeah,
freeloader, right?
everyone's a freeloader. So, but to me, college does a couple things. You learn the ways of the world. You learn how to meet and interact with people outside of your shell. You show, and like what many people say, when people say, "Oh, why do you need a college degree to do this job?" When they just train you, whatever. Well, it shows a 4-year commitment, sometimes a 4 year and a half commitment of scratching and clawing and getting done. And believe me, I talk to my kids all the time. If anything, there's more and more hoops to jump through, more things you got to do. When we were there, because so much was not online and easily available, I almost feel as if like scheduling and your program was set in paper. Well, because things can change so quick and because there's online classes and this and that, I think it's almost like it's definitely like in some ways easier, but also some ways harder. The universities say, hey, there's this, this, and this. You
Hmm.
should have known this. You know what I mean? Like back in our day, remember you would get a course book, right, Mike? And it would be like, oh, this course book is good for like 92 through 95, right? Like, and if as long
Yeah.
as you were in that window of starting school, that was gospel.
Right.
Now things change at a whim because they can.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think it just shows that people that are able to do those sorts of things, you know, adjust, learn socially, and then hopefully pursuing a degree that has some information that can maybe get you working if we are going to be working in 4 years. I don't know.
Well, and Mike, the other thing too, it's just again, I don't know why. I understand to a point the idea that, training you for a job, for life, and other those things. But, you know, coming back to, our text thread, Elizabeth just sent us something, about the phrase the Middle East. That was, and I'm not being arrogant here, but I got my master's in the focus area was the Middle East. I knew that, right? Why is
Yeah,
that a bad thing? I don't know why
I
that's the anti-intellectualism of our culture, why these things are bad to know things.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand, like, there's always this hate of, oh, they're going to school and they're getting this worthless degree or this and that. But, part of your degree was a block of classes that were just undergrad, like I joke around about the astronomy class I took or things like this that have nothing to do with being a high school teacher or a librarian or, any of those things, and like I do have a history minor, but, like I said, I took a great, Roman history class that I never got in high school. Like in high school,
Right.
Roman history is like, a second or a day. And then,
Hmm.
I had it for a whole semester and it was, I had a Michigan history class, which is all Max might get us on this. What isn't that seventh grade or is that eighth grade? I thought they did that.
Gosh, I
They
should
may have
know that
changed.
too.
It used to be in a grade. I think they've changed. Obviously, curriculum's changed, but like
Yeah.
Michigan history, it was a great class that I had. And the professor was, I mean, there's classes where you're sleepy or, you're like,
Hmm.
you could be like Donald in the cabinet meeting. You start like drifting off. I would never did that in that Michigan history class. I really enjoyed it and learned something new every day. As a matter of fact, got a new book today delivered to the library. It's a new write up on the Edmund Fitzgerald. I've already started it. It's
Oh,
really
really?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that book. So, interesting, like my Michigan history course, the professor and I became pretty close, and she actually put my grandfather in her book because he was a member of the UAW Local 600.
Okay.
And the DePauli family, Mark DePauli is a big dog in
Yeah.
the UAW Local 600. So I showed Mrs. DePauli that picture, and it's really cool. So yeah, those are like my name is in a published book that students read all the time, or did. I don't know if it's been a little while, but
Who did you? Was
you
this
know
at Eastern? Who was your
it.
professor?
Joel and Vineyard.
Yeah, that's who I had. It's great.
Yeah,
Great
great.
class.
Yeah,
Great class. Yeah, I figured it had to be the same person because Eastern's not that big.
right, right.
So, oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that about your
Yeah,
family. That's really cool. So yeah, I mean, I understand the data. I mean, it's a shocking number, but I understand why. When you look at the cost, it's like you probably do a survey too. Like, what percent of Americans don't think a new car is worth it? It's probably more than
oh,
uh,
absolutely.
it's like so
Yeah.
like when things start getting outrageously expensive, it's understandable. And and this all goes back to, way back in the day before our age, like, we hear the boomers tell stories, oh, like I'd work all summer to pay for my tuition, because they would, because the states funded schools a lot more.
Right,
And then
right.
all of a sudden the states decided, you know what, why are we doing this? We'll just have all these kids take out loans. And, the funny thing is a lot of these schools that are really successful have tons of money through various other means, but uh,
Yeah.
they still keep raising tuition. So
In the billions, yeah.
but yeah, we'd love to hear what people think. We know we have a lot of listeners are going through this now with their own kids or close. It's a hard thing to do. And again, it's before Chloe started, I didn't know, back when we went to school, when you filled out the financial aid, whatever money you didn't have, the federal government offered you whatever was left to cover.
Yeah,
Well, they've tightened that all up. That's not the way it is anymore. So
right.
it's very hard. It's a hard formula to figure out because, the Pehodia state doesn't have, like my dad did pay out of pocket. I cannot pay out of pocket for these kids' tuition.
No, for sure not.
So,
Nope.
anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's good. I think that it's a very well. I think we kind of laid out all the details of the topic, and again, I think we are still we're acknowledging both sides of this one, and
Yeah,
at the
well, we've
same
talked
time,
before about like the importance of going to college and
yeah,
the struggles with them, but this was something new, and we sort of acknowledge that the saying's not that wrong. So,
sure.
all right, overrated, underrated for December. Here we go.
Oh boy, here we go.
Big
Dr.
game.
Rice,
Dr.
thank you
Rice,
again.
Dr. Patrick Rice, not Michael Rice, newly
Yeah.
retired. All right, here we go. Card, two sides. You'll go first on the first side. Okay. Again, it's really simple. Is this overrated or underrated? Oh, I think this is easy. It's a good topic though. Frozen pizzas, overrated or underrated?
You know what? To me, they're no good, but are they over? Do people really like them? So I guess I'm gonna have to say overrated because I don't think they're very good. But I don't know too many people that like frozen pizzas, especially in our age bracket. But I'm gonna go overrated because if anybody likes them, that's one too many people.
Yeah, I'm going to go overrated. I haven't had one in years. I'm not trying to be a one percenter here by any means. I used to get the California Pizza Kitchen ones,
That's
and you'd put that right
true.
on the.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
now I
fair.
am a one percenter, I
You are
guess.
a one percenter
Uh,
if that's the case.
but like, and I get it. Depending on your life, it's quick, it's easy, it's cheap. You just throw them in the freezer if you're ever without a dinner. But over the years, to me, there's not that much. And again, I'm not a one percenter in the fact that I get delivery. I'll go get my pizzas and pick them up. You're not talking that much difference in cost when you order a pizza on a good
Right.
deal or a coupon, and it's way better.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to say frozen pizza is overrated.
Now, so California pizza I really like. Did you ever have like DiGiorno, their express, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. That to me, I mean,
I've had one here or there, but it's been years since I've had any because I just don't. Because like the last time I bought one, it was all freezer burned anyway. Because like I forgot about it. I just don't. I'll just drive to like a local place and go pick it up with a coupon,
hmm
and it's like $3 more, right?
yeah.
So.
Okay. That's fair.
All right, so frozen pizzas, we agree, overrated. Side B
Overrated.
of the card, I go first. Oh, now this is going to be might be a little controversial. My daughter loves this. The TV show Saturday Night Live. Now, I don't know if this means in its entirety currently. I'm going to say that I'm going to say underrated. I think it's an institution. What it does and how it does it. Are there lulls where it's been down? Yes, but I mean, you're still going strong. You still get the hottest current stars on it. You still get pretty good musical acts. It's live. It's still talked about frequently. You think about things that sort of faded, like we talk about
hmm
like the tonight, like the late night talk shows. Those are really fading, right? Like where Saturday Night Live, I think, is still. It's amazing to me that it's still going strong. I'm going to say underrated.
God, this is tough. You think about all the big name actors and actresses who've come from there. How, you're right. It's an institution. But I'm going to go overrated simply because of this. Even when I don't watch anymore, and it's for no other reason than I just don't. There was no political motive nor anything else. But I even remember when I liked it, there were always, I would say, even more skits on the show that just didn't do it for me, and I was hoping they would end than the ones that I really enjoyed. So I'm going to begrudgingly go overrated just because of that reason. The funny stuff on the show was outstanding, but there was too many lulls where I would just be like, God, can this skit ever end? And it didn't feel
Well,
like it did. So
and in full disclosure, I don't watch it. I'll watch like clips the next day on YouTube or TikTok. Like, so
yeah.
I don't even have to sit through the whole show. If there's a good musical artist, I'll actually go to like watch the YouTube, on YouTube, the
hmm
artist perform. But sitting down on a Saturday night to watch it, oh, you know me, I'm a sleepy
Yeah,
guy.
you're in bed by 9:30. So yeah.
So,
Boomer
I'm
time.
yes. As a matter of fact, the Lions are on TV tonight. I don't think I'll make much of it. I don't like Thursday night football. We've made that clear too. All right, well there it
Yeah.
is. Overrated, underrated game. Good card. Another man. These cards are Dr.
That was a
Rice. He find
challenge. That was a really big
yeah. He
challenge.
find this is a pretty. We're only like three cards in too. We got the show will be going on for years before we even get through this. All right, hot mic take. What do you got this week?
Okay, so my hot mic take last week was about family and Thanksgiving, and I'm going to shout out a couple people. Let me start with Chris Pate, who sent a really good message to us that I thought was pretty good. He said, "I actually meant to reply to the podcast. I completely disagree with the whole keep the peace mantra. It's always the same person who causes family drama, and everyone else has to deal with it because that's just mom or that's just how my sister acts." Keep the peace only seems to go in one direction, and when you aren't willing to tolerate disrespect, you are somehow the bad guy. I emphatically say to hell with that. Okay, so that
Wow,
we don't have to bleep.
I don't have
So
to believe it, but
Chris, Chris, very well put. And to a point, I agree with it. In fact, I do agree with it, whether it's political in nature or otherwise. And then Nick Gagne, former student,
Yes.
sent us a pretty lengthy scholarly article, which had a lot of really high level. First off, I got to tell you, Nick, it was not easy to read. And I
Yeah, before I don't mean to interrupt you, I tried
Go
to
ahead.
start to read it at work, like during
Hmm.
my fourth hour where the library is empty, and I couldn't. And I decided I'm going to read it at home this weekend. Like I started, and not no offense to Nick, it's just some one of those things. And plus, to me, like when I'm reading something like that, it's so hard for me on a screen. I may actually print it, like
I
not to sound
printed
like
it
a
as well.
not okay, not to sound like a boomer.
I did print it for the same reason. Now here I'm gonna sound like a boomer. Unfortunately for me, when I printed, the last like letter or two would get cut off the right corner
Oh
of the
my
page.
goodness.
So I had to kind of decipher what was said. But I read it yesterday because I knew I wanted to acknowledge Chris's text and that or post a text about the show, and then kind of bring that in and compare it to what Nick sent us. So Nick, it was a very interesting read. Full disclosure here, basketball has started, so my time is a little more constrained. So I kind of jotted down some notes, and unfortunately, that is in my backpack, which is still at school. So I want to just go over a couple things, and then again, I want to bring this back to what Chris wrote. The reasons why Nick's article was about the reasons for polarization and the reason why people are so divided right now. Now, his is more political in nature. Chris's was more general. But I do
Hmm.
think there's political elements even to what Chris is saying because you got to sometimes let, the grandpa who's just spewing whatever he saw on the television, and it's got to be the television yesterday, just saying what he saw or on the internet and takes everything as gospel. And so I kind of bring those things together. And Nick's article really did some good explaining about how why a lot of people are so drawn to their side right now. And again, people feel like they've been let down by the elites. They feel talked down to. And a lot of the things, while I may not agree, you're talking to people that have been speaking a certain way in a certain language and putting the obvious. There's no room in our society for racist language, so we could put that aside. But just language that people have spoken in terms of, let's just say, pronouns or something like that, and you're asking them to immediately flip almost on a dime, and then almost being name called for not being able to do so. Um, and then the article kind of closes a really, really awesome close to the article, a list of things that, and again, the article, it's political in nature, it's about populism and all these things, but really it just was kind of like, well, okay, so this is why this person feels this way, and this is why this person feels this way. Um, I'm not, and so it was more of a understanding article that this is knowing how somebody is feeling, might help generate a dialogue that can produce, better results than what we're getting right now. And by the end of it, I'm thinking, okay, Chris was right, but this article is really, and the article again is not saying to tolerate, the idiot uncle, but it's also explaining why the idiot uncle feels the way he does and with his tinfoil hat and everything else. And so the bottom line, I guess, is what I'm getting at here is I don't know what to think anymore. And I think admitting that may be a step in the right direction of, if I am acknowledging I don't know, if I'm acknowledging that I have my beliefs, I have my core beliefs, they're really being challenged right now, but at the same time, you know, I don't want to broad brush stroke everybody that disagrees with me, just as I don't want them doing the same thing. Like, for instance, calling an entire group of people garbage or something like that, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I wanted to shout out both of them, and I'm arriving at a conclusion that's really no conclusion, but I want to say I heard both. And I don't even know if Nick sent us that for that reason. I think Nick was just trying to enlighten us. It was an outstanding article, Nick. But it really challenged a lot of what I was thinking. And Chris, your point is well taken. Um, and to kind of finalize that point, Chris, a lot of my family just didn't bother showing up, so I didn't have to
Yes.
deal with it anyway.
We have a Peyote chain text with all the adults, and my sister Katie will sometimes send things political, and my mom is the enforcer of no politics.
No politics.
My mom slaps it down. So as the case, I'm not going to be as serious. We seem to always work off this very
We
well.
do, we do.
I'm wondering, as throughout the years, I always would say I like Michigan weather-wise. Like I think it's I love the fall. We've said that the summers you get a couple hot days. Well, we've done this whole bit with what's worse, the extreme cold. We've already talked about February, how it sucks and this and that. But I've always been fine. I can make it through this. But I'm starting to find with each passing year as I get older, and I talked to half of the Allen Park duo at lunch today, Kelly Warren. The Michigan winters are starting to get a hold of me. I never thought in my life I'd ever want to leave Michigan and go somewhere. And it's never like Florida. I don't want to be like these crazies in Florida,
Sure,
but
sure.
but somewhere where just like I'm thinking like we are talking like the Carolinas, right? Where it your coldest that you might get a string of like a freezing day here or there, like throughout the summer, like something goofy, but for the most part, when it's cold, it's like like I can walk in the 30s and 40s. So if you get a couple stretches of those, but like this stuff now in December, it's December 4th as we're recording this, and it's supposed to be freezing tomorrow morning, way
Hmm.
earlier than normal. I would just like to be somewhere where I don't have to deal with like polar vortexes, right? And I'm starting to think that, and maybe I won't be a lifelong Michigander because this is starting to wear on me as I get older. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I mean, you feel like it's just painful almost, and that's
Yeah.
exaggeration. It doesn't hurt necessarily, but it just mentally, it's
Yeah.
draining. Um, and you by the time you're dealing with it for a couple of weeks, like God, and when I went out this morning, even I was like, this is just when the wind's blowing at you, and I'm with you.
Yeah, but I don't want the extreme heat either. But I feel like I want to be somewhere where it's okay to I wouldn't freak out if we had a couple inches of snow one day, or like we're talking like the Carolinas, right? Southern Ohio, Kentucky,
Mhm.
like those sorts of things. Maybe and again, like what's going to happen? My kids may move out of state, so maybe something where we end up doing something. You never
Sure.
know. But that's my thing. The Michigan cold is getting to me with each and every passing year, and I saw something to that. Like some doctor came out and said over 47, you shouldn't shovel snow at all. It's that bad for your
Really?
for your heart.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving, we're not giving out medical advice here, but that's what I
Can
saw.
can Dr. Rice comment on that?
I don't know. We'll get Dr. Rice and we'll get Robert Kennedy in on that. All right, it's time for the picks. I'm going to throw one college game in since Michigan State's done. Michigan will go to a bowl game. Who do you got in the Big Ten championship game? Indiana versus Ohio State in a weird game that do you think if whoever loses is not going to be a top four seed?
No, I think they're both going to be top four seeds.
Yeah. So what a weird situation.
I don't want to say pointless, but I'm going to go Ohio State. I love Indiana to win, but it's not going to happen. So I'm going to go
Yeah,
Ohio
like it's
State.
almost like though too, like all of a sudden if it's Ohio State and then there's like 8 minutes left, and let's just say like you're down 14. If you're either team, do you really go all out at that point, or do you just sort of
Right.
say, there's 8 minutes
Hmm.
left? I don't want anyone to get hurt. It's gonna be weird. Just what a
Yeah.
weird situation.
Yeah.
All right, so then we do
Wait,
have our zoo.
you agree Ohio
Oh,
State
I'm
then
going to
is,
take Ohio State. Yeah, I think they're going to win, but it's a hard thing to gauge anything.
yeah.
All right, Dallas is at the Detroit Lions tonight. I think this is sort of loser is in very bad shape.
Yeah.
More so Dallas, but I still think if Detroit loses this game, playoff wise, they are in a very bad spot.
Oh man. Lions are obviously banged up, especially in the secondary again. Man, all week I've been saying Dallas might put them out of their misery because I think if they lose this, it's a really the road is already difficult. I think it becomes almost impossible. Again, they can win all four, but going out to LA next week, I'm going to say Lions are going to circle the wagons and somehow win this game. It's going to be a shootout, but the Lions win.
Yeah, I think the road team on Thursday night, it's such a tough spot.
Yeah,
Even though they both had a full week because they played on Thanksgiving, I
sure.
still think it's a tough. So that's going to be my tiebreaker in my mind. The Lions schedule, it is tough. The remaining game, we can laugh at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's tied for first, so every game they're playing is against a team that is, you know,
Yeah.
pretty good. So, but I'll take the Lions. And then speaking of Pittsburgh, I saw somebody today, the least excited they've ever been, the least buzz about a Pittsburgh at Baltimore game. They're tied. They both sort of have the same feeling around them. People are sick of them. People are sick of their coach. They want Harbaugh gone in Baltimore. They want Tomlin gone in Pittsburgh. It's like the least anticlimactic game ever. I think Pittsburgh is going to lose this game, especially the way Buffalo exposed them with the running game. I'm playing against Derrick Henry in fantasy this week, so I'm dreading this. But Baltimore's not that good either. So whoever wins the AFC North is going to get a home game and probably
Oh
lose
my
to the
God.
Chargers.
Yeah, you're probably right. And the Chargers, I mean, and they're banged up too. I mean, the offensive line, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go Baltimore as well.
All right, so there we go. We both agree Detroit and Baltimore. Oh, the Ren Dog. Wait, he sent us our picks, right? He said the Lions, right? I don't want to.
He
He
did.
did
He
send
did.
us.
He did.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
yes, we got it. So we don't want him to be upset about that. Ren Dog sent us the picks. So I mentioned it earlier in the episode. Spotify Wrap came out. We showed some of our data from yesterday. You sent
Oh,
it,
baby.
or I sent it to the other half of the Allen Park duo, Rocky Georgie,
Yeah.
who
He didn't
congratulated
like
me. Did
that.
not, did not congratulate you. I am going to share this weekend. I'll share a slide, our top episode of the year. Let's see if our listeners can guess. I'm not going to. I'll share the image after the episode gets out. But if you want to guess, maybe comment on the link to this episode of who you think our top. Who do you think? What do you think our top episode was for 2025? The data came in. I'll give a hint. It was a guest. A guest was a shocker. It was an episode
Shocker.
with a
They
guest.
don't want to hear
So
us. Hey, so real quick though, can you share the percentage increase we had?
Yeah, I can. So and again, I shared that on our Facebook page, but according to Spotify, we got 14% new followers, but total new audience up 857%. These are numbers like Donald Trump is talking about with prices coming down 500. We're up 857%. What a year for Pass the
We're
Mic. That
killing
tops
it.
all
Yeah.
the, you know what I mean? That tops the tariff. So, um, but hey, everybody, we hope you have a great week. Thanks for listening. We really do thank all of our listeners.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tom
Thank you.
Pack did another great collage with all the pictures of Coach Denver in there. That was a nice collage that he always did. And thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Take care.